Hello, hello. I'm probably not going to be paying attention to the chat. So I'm here and I am there. We are in we are on YouTube live and on TikTok live. So basically, I wanted to share the fact that tarot has been given such a bad rap. But the tarot is connected to, as a matter of fact, this deck of cards is not going to show it. But let me see if I can find the other deck of cards. So, tarot and Torah, the Old Testament, is all connected. And I can share how astrology and all of this is connected. And I have yet to figure out why all of these things are important for us, but I know there's something that we need to figure out about it. So you have cards like this, which is called the Chariot card, right? And this represents the sign of Cancer. It represents moving forward, moving on. For anybody over here, the Chariot card is the sign of Cancer. I'm repeating that again. And so many people are unaware that this is connected to a lot. So you got the heavens behind it, the as above, so below, the curtain, the heavenly curtain. You got Egypt, the power that was during that time. There's so much in here. You have the light and the dark, the balance, the yin, the yang. You have two sides basically of the same thing. So now a lot of people don't know that even the signs above us in the sky represent things below. As above, so below. And so many of these cards are connected to the Torah. It's not even funny. All right, so we have Temperance. This is an angel card. This is an angel from the book of Revelation as well. And old school scriptures and Bible verses. This is the angel with one foot in the water, one foot on the land with the cup. It's pouring out the cup of water. Water represents mem or memoria and wisdom and knowledge, but also water is the majority of the earth is covered in water, and so is our body. Our body is mostly made up of water. So in the Hebrew, the word mem, the letter mem is like an M, and it looks like waves of water. So it's connected to the scripture. And I'm not here pulling on and like wishing and hoping. You can go do your due diligence, you can do your research, and you can find out that all of this stuff is connected to, like, the first original cards, like the world card. This is the world card for those on TikTok. Now, the world card has to do also with the vision that Ezekiel had. Ezekiel, for any of you that are not aware, was one of the men that God called to become a prophet. And so he's in the Old Testament. And when he sees this vision of a scroll and he sees all this different stuff, I believe it's Ezekiel. It could be, no, it's not Elijah. Anyway, forgive me if I'm saying Ezekiel and it's not Ezekiel, but Ezekiel did have a vision of a wheel within the wheel. And then he described the beings having four faces on it. And the faces described were a face of a man, which is here, and it represents Aquarius, face of an eagle, face of an eagle, all right, which represents Scorpio. Then you have the bull, which in ancient days they melted all their gold and turned it into a golden calf, into a bull, a golden calf again. That represents Taurus. And then the lion The scripture talks about the lion. It also talks about Christ being the lion of the tribe of Judah. It's all related, it's all connected. And this has to do with the sign of Leo. Again, for those over here, this card is talking about the 4 different changes in our seasons, okay? And the world card has a woman, and the woman has this drape. It's a lot. It's, if you go and do more homework, hold on guys. Hi, I'm kind of live. Hold on a second.
Sorry. Call me back after that.
Okay. Okay, bye. Sorry guys. I was trying to get all this information. So hello to the one person that's out there. So again, this is part of what's in the scriptures. So I'm going to bring out what this rabbi shares, okay? This rabbi right here, he's talking about the heavens above, right? Because it's all throughout the scripture. But if you don't understand the language, you're not going to know what you're looking for, right? So in the book of Revelation, they also talk about the 4 faces, the lion. Here we go. Where is my lion? I'm sorry, guys. We've got the book of Revelation. Boom. The 4 horsemen, and then the 4-faced beast. It's all connected, it's all related. And so, what this book, for those of you that are on YouTube, it's The Creation Calls Out, the book of the Mazarot by Rav Shaul, which Shaul is Paul. And anybody over here on TikTok, I'm sharing on live on YouTube as well. So basically, the 4 horsemen of Revelation have to do with the 4 signs and the seasons, the way it changes. And I'm going to break it down how he breaks it down in the book. So this is the book again, is Creation Cries Out, the 3rd edition. And he basically says that the 4 horsemen are the cardinal signs of the zodiac, or astrology. In Hebrew, it's the Mazarot, which has to do with the clock in the heavens above us. So the clock in the sky is basically where we're at. Hey, welcome. So the clock in the sky tells us the seasons that we're going to be in. Just right now, we entered into Cancer season in June, which also June 20th or 21st, I keep forgetting, it brought on our summer season. So this has to do with the seasons, with the time. And that's why Christ said that we need to be aware of the times and the seasons and the fruit that are also being produced, and they're ripe and da da da. Like, he talks in parables a lot of times, Christ. And so a lot of people are kind of confused because they're like, wait a minute, what the heck is he talking about? So right here, he breaks down the book of Revelation 4:7. It says, the first living creature was like a lion. The second was like the bull, like a bull. The third had the face like a man, and the fourth was like a flying eagle. And I said, if you guys are new here, I was sharing that those 4 have to do with Scorpio. Where's that? Where's the card at? The world card. Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus. Those 4. So then he continues in Ezekiel 1:10. It says their faces look like this. Each of them had 4 faces, the face of a man. On the right side, it had, and the on each right side or whatever, it says the lion, and on the left, the face of a bull, and then the face of an eagle. So it's described in 2 different verses, or in 2 different areas in the Bible, the Old Testament and the New. So it comes up here. Beast number 1 is the rider, which is Taurus, okay? And the horse that it's riding on is Aries, because it brings in the springtime. Beast number 2 in the book of Revelation is the lion, and the rider is Leo. The horse is Cancer, which is the summer. The third beast is an eagle, which the rider is Scorpio. And like I said, the eagle was what they used to use back in the day to describe Scorpio. It was the face of an eagle. And the horse that it's riding is Libra, which is the fall. So this is all the different seasons. And then the beast number 4 is man, which the rider is Aquarius. And the horse, or horseman, is Capricorn, which is the winter. The winter is death, right? Because in the winter, everything dies. So when things die, you have to wait for the springtime for things to come alive. And what happened? Christ was killed according to our story, during the springtime, he was the first fruit, if you will, of heaven. So if you guys are not really sure about what the first fruits or any of that means, you can kind of like go back and do some research on that. But the whole point of me even being on this live, like I wanted to just share that in the scriptures and in history and in our sky and in astrology and everything, it's all connected to a lot of the ancient writings. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to be able to understand it or decipher it. And that's why there's so much information out there. And if we want to learn, we can do some research, and it's real quick. When you find this stuff, you're like, holy crap, that's crazy. So like it says here, he goes on to break down the four horses are the four cardinal points: spring, summer, fall, and winter. The four faces of the beast or the horseman are the four fixed signs. So, fixed signs in astrology are signs that are not movable. So, if you meet someone under these star signs, you can pick up some of these characteristics. And not everybody's going to have this to a T, because there's other things going on in play. But the four faces, we've got Taurus, which is the bull, Leo, which is the lion, Scorpio, which is the eagle, and Aquarius, which is the man. And a lot of these signs are told or said to be stubborn. They're immovable, just like the bull. And now let's go back to when Moses supposedly he went up the mountain, which the mountain represents so much other stuff. If you're understanding it with spiritual eyes and not flesh eyes, you're going to know that Moses went up the mountain to get the Ten Commandments from God. He rose up. And when anywhere you see that he rose or went up, this is to transform our mind. This is to raise our frequency, raise our vibration, and do things on a spiritual level, not a lower man way, right? Because mankind, what did they want when they were at the bottom of the mountain? They were lusting, they were having orgies, they were eating animal flesh, and then they were complaining to God. They said, God, this is not enough. We need you to give us more meat. They asked for quail, and God gave them quail, and that thing, they died. A lot of these people died in the wilderness because they were greedy and they were not happy, and nothing was making them happy. And that's mankind when we are on our lower vibration, where we're low frequency. We are not satisfied with anything. This is why Christ says we need to seek the kingdom of heaven first. And that kingdom is within us all. And so when you find out that the kingdom of heaven is within you, you don't need to go looking for it on the outside. We're waiting for Christ to return physically when he says, I am with you always. And he also says that I will not leave you nor forsake you. And I and the Father are one, and we're one together on one mission, on one accord. What does that tell you? The Father, the Creator, whatever you want to call it, Spirit is already within us. So when we go looking outside, we're getting lost in the sauce. So we have to meditate, we have to pray, we have to take good care of this body. Hello, welcome. So we have to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we are not able to then raise our vibration or rise to the level of consciousness that Christ wanted us to be, because we're light, right? But when we behave in certain manners, we're bringing ourselves down and we're becoming fleshly, animalistic, right? And so when we're animalistic, we crave flesh, we crave drugs, we crave everything but the Creator. We reject that, we don't want it. And so then we're behaving just like the people that were at the bottom of the mountain. So when Moses goes up the mountain, he's ascending, he's going up. And then when he came down to see what the people were doing, they were low vibing, they were in their animalistic behavior, they were acting a fool. And he was so mad that he just slammed the tablets down. And there's a lot of hidden meanings with the tablets and what was really written on there. And some say that it had to do with the five earthly senses and the five spiritual senses. And there's just a lot involved in that. But when Moses comes down, if you guys remember that story, if ever you've seen it or gone to church or heard it, there was the people melted all their gold and they made a golden calf. And this golden calf, like a bull or what have you, was what they started to worship. But what we don't understand is at the time these people were living in was the age of Taurus. Okay. And during the age of Taurus, they needed to melt down this information, this material, and turn it into, because for them they thought God was outside of them. They thought that God was an idol, something to worship, which is what we still see today in the world. We see people with statues and little things and rocks and everything, but God is not necessarily in those things. Although you can say and argue that God is in everything and everywhere because of the frequency and energy, but we're connected to the creator. And when we realize that we don't need to go outside of ourselves, we can find that within. And then you look at all the stuff that's written in scripture and you realize that it's all connected to the zodiac. So Taurus right here, Taurus was that bull. That was the age that the Israelites were living in the middle of nowhere. They were in the wilderness and they were coming out of Egypt. And Egypt is also representing bondage, slavery. It also represents the carnal body. And coming into Israel, if you look at the word Israel, some people have broken it down, and Isis, Ra, and El, Israel, that has to do with so much more. And when the people are coming out of bondage, they're being set free and being brought into the wilderness. And why are they being brought into the wilderness? Because they had to purify themselves. They had to remove all the impurities. They had to fast in the wilderness, just like Christ. Christ had to fast before he could ascend the way that he did. We can't stay in this place of darkness. We have to transform. We have to get rid of that old shell. And that's where Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio, comes in. Scorpio sheds its skin, and it's also death in the cards of tarot. It's all connected, guys, like I'm saying before. And if you guys go back to the beginning, all these cards are connected, right? So the sign of Scorpio on these tarot cards is the sign of death, because Christ had to die in order to be reborn and born again. We do too. And so that's what the whole experience, when you submerge underwater for baptism, it's all symbolic. It has to do with us submerging ourselves in the water and then coming back reborn. We died, we went under the water. When we come back, we are brand new. And then when we are meditating and we're walking in the right way, we are also fire. There's a fire within us that literally activates. So these new agers that talk about the chakras and all of that stuff, the book of Revelation talks about the seven seals, just like what the chakra system is all about. The thing is that people have twisted the information, or they have said it was evil so that they can keep us away from it, because they don't want us to wake up to this information. They don't want us to say, oh wow, we understand this, and we ascend and we really reach that transformation. Just like the sign of Scorpio, it's death. It sheds its skin every year and it's reborn, just like the butterfly. The butterfly goes into its cocoon as a caterpillar and it comes out this new creation. And that creation is us. We have to be transformed in order to ascend, in order to do. And so many of us have traumas from childhood, from life, from everything, that we're still battling it out. And I would say, like the scripture says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual things that we can't physically see, that are constantly testing us and throwing darts at us. I'm going to throw you off track. I'm going to throw you down this path of death and destruction, because there is a force that does not want us to come to the light. They want us to stay in darkness, stay blinded there. And the only way we're going to be set free is if we understand that all these things that they've told us is evil, is wicked, stay away from, is not. And in order to understand who we are, to know thyself, which is what Christ says, you need to know yourself in order to be transformed. And to be transformed is to renew our mind, right? Because There's this little thing that hits us all the time. You're not worthy. You're not good enough. You're not loved. Nobody wants you. Everybody hates you. You're this, you're that. And then we keep playing these things in our heads. And I'll be kind of, devil's advocate, and to say that even the foods and things that we consume have parasites and other things that also lower our frequency and bring us darkness, because our colon is backed up with death, right? Because when we eat animal flesh, it rots in us. And I'm not here telling any of us what to do and how to do it, but when I was vegan, I was in the most amazing health, and I felt the spiritual connection. And our bodies, we are the temple of the creator, and the creator dwells here. So in that same manner, we have to care for our body, and we have to say, I am worthy of having a better life, living better, eating better, sleeping, and taking care of myself, giving myself the TLC, right? Because Christ says, love your neighbor. How can you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself? So we have to take care of ourselves just as much as our neighbor, our loved one, our children. How many of us deplete ourselves and we pour so much into someone else's cup, just like this angel represented in this thing? We're pouring out our cup, and we're pouring so much love and stuff into everybody else, but we forget ourselves. We forget that we need to pour into our cup as well, and to remember that our body is made up of water. And the more positive we are, our thoughts are going to change and transform us. So I don't know if any of you have ever seen, there's a science experiment that they tested with water, and they put a few different water bottles out, or bowls with water. You can Google it. And they realized that when you talked negatively to a bottle of water or a glass of water, that water molecular form, it turned ugly under a microscope. It was disgusting. And then when they realized the one that they were speaking nicely to, that one, when they looked under it on the microscope, they said, wow, this looks beautiful under this microscope. Why? Because words have life, and the water takes that and it memorizes that energy. So when we don't show this again. Sorry, guys. So when we are trying to heal ourselves, we have to speak kindly to ourselves. When we speak to this water, we're transforming it molecularly, cellularly, the same way we have to transform our bodies from the inside out. We have to take this water and speak life into it, drink it, process it, so that we're transformed, we're healed. Then we'll start recovering from illnesses. That depression that's on us all the time, that depression is out the window. We're not depressed no more. We're not stressed no more, because we know who we are, and we realize we're light, and we're not supposed to dwell in darkness. So that's why it's important to read, to study, to use discernment, to do your research, and realize that in order for us to get to the next phase, to be transformed, we need to learn this stuff, and we need to heal our bodies. Our body's the temple, it's not a grave. So we have to feed it life, and not only with physical food, right? Because food is just to nourish the body, the flesh soup that we're living in. But what's going to fuel our spirit, right? Our spirit needs food too. Our spirit needs meditation. Our spirit needs prayer. Our spirit needs positive words and affirmations to heal the brokenness that we were when we came out of that darkness, right? Because what's darkness? Darkness is anything that we've been through, that we've experienced, that was meant to destroy us, to keep us down. That darkness needs to be transformed now into light. If your family told you you were worthless, that you're a piece of crap, that you're never going to amount to anything, your ex or your past, whatever, tells you you're not good enough, you're nobody, you're a loser, da da da. We have to take all of that and become alchemists and transform all of that. Hi, Ari. And so we need to transform everything that was meant to destroy us, and we need to turn it back into the best of the best, become like the Transformer movie, transform ourselves into something brand new. And that was all of Christ's point. Christ is like, we need to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And what does that mean? you got to change the way you're thinking. A lot of people think success is by being positive only. No, you have to think that way, and you have to live that way. You have to eat that way. You have to act as if already, so that once you're there, you recognize who you are and you stay there, because otherwise you're going to stay in darkness. You need to feed yourself good stuff. That's why I don't watch the news is negative. I don't watch the propaganda that they're pushing, the election. I don't watch any of that stuff because it's not important. What was that? Yes or no to what? Let me scroll up. Can you re-ask your question, Mr.? Um, we just need to transform. We don't have time to be playing here and watching all this negative stuff and continue to get bombarded by all the toxic stuff that wants to just keep us low vibing and frequency, right? And a lot of it has to do with that we're connected to this system that keeps us in bondage, that wants us to be slaves, right? Because we all try, as much as we try to become independent and business owners, and there's always something. There's always something trying to hit us here and hit us there. We don't have enough money. We work two jobs and we still can't make ends meet. Why? Because they're keeping us distracted. They're keeping us busy, so we don't have time to do the work. What's the work? To transform ourselves so that we could be the light and vibrate, so that everybody else can get a little bit of our light. And then before you know it, everybody starts waking up. But this is dangerous information to share. Right, Jose. This is dangerous information. Thank you guys for liking my live, because it's about damn time. But it's important that we transform so that things around us can transform. Otherwise, hey. Otherwise, we're not going to see anything change. And we're breaking generational curses right now. The fact that we all are here and that we want to transform our lives, that we want to do better and be better for your kids, for the next generation, it's proof that we want transformation, that we're ready for the new. Otherwise, we might as well go back into the dungeon and stay there as a bondage, in bondage as a slave. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to thrive. We're here to be dope human beings. We're here to heal, to transform, to break all these chains. Look, they've even said that how many generations does it take for us to break out of generational curses? It takes at least 3 or 4 generations for us to no longer do the same thing. If dad was an alcoholic, grandpa was an alcoholic, the one before that was an alcoholic, we don't need to become or stay in that same mentality. We need to say, no, that was then. I get it. I forgive them for whatever it was, but we need to transform it. We need to change it. We can't stay there, right? Because that's not for us. Our kids, nieces, nephews, they need more from us. We need to change. Even our friends, our loved ones, they need more from us. They need the better version of us. So it's time now that we start to remove all the bullshit, get out of the wilderness. We're no longer slaves in Egypt. It's time for us to go forward. Thank you, Jose. That's the freaking amazing. Thank you. Thank you. So this is resonating. That's awesome. I'm happy. It's about damn time my live is getting some love today from everybody. Thank you guys for being here. But definitely we need to do better, because this life is not for us to be slaves. Look, they're telling us that retirement age might be to 70, 75. If we even get there. How are we going to know if we're even going to get there? Who wants to work until they're crusty as hell and not be able to enjoy your life? I'm sorry, no offense to anybody who's crusty right now. I'm just kidding. But who wants to wait to be 70, 75, 80 to enjoy their lives? We need to be able to retire now and enjoy our lives now. We're not meant to be purchasing everything in sight, car, house, and paying all this money. But the reason there's a transformation, again, goes back to astrology. We're entering in, or we're already in, the age of Aquarius. And what does Aquarius mean? Aquarius means balance. It means bringing to everybody, and also bringing that which was dark or in darkness to the light. Why do you think there's so much stuff being exposed right now? Celebrities are being exposed. Everything is coming out now because it needs to come out now, because people are still sleeping. How many people back 10, 15 years ago, the Illuminati, this, that person, that, this celebrity, da da da, we knew what was going on, but nobody was really bringing it out. The pedophilia, the church, the this, that. Now we're seeing it everywhere. It's being unmasked, and people are like seeing everything for what it is. Why? Because we're in the age where Christ even said knowledge was going to fill the earth. Let me tell you, if I wasn't on my phone right now, I'd show you my phone. How much information is in that phone? But guess what, everybody? Where's the most information is here. The most information is here. We're more of a powerful machine than our cell phones, okay? Our DNA has memories from the very beginning of creation. They said that 2% of our DNA has enough information from 7 point something billion years already. And the religious don't like it because they want to say that things are 6,000 years old, but that's not true. That's when they started calculating time. The earth and everything else is much older than that. So I'm sorry for anybody on YouTube Live. Don't get offended, but it is what it is. And the truth hurts. The truth is uncomfortable. And we need to get out of our comfort zone, because we're not moving anywhere, going anywhere. We stay in our comfort zone. And that's why all of us are in the place that we're in today, because we're still in our comfort zone. And what do we need to do? We need to move, make a shift, transform ourselves, take a chance to do something different, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. We cannot get to the promised land if we're still doing the same thing the slaves were doing in Egypt. We're still mentally enslaved. We need to change that. We shouldn't need to work 40 hours, 50, 60 hours a week. We were not created for that. We were created to enjoy life, and life abundantly. That's exactly what Christ said. And he says, heaven on earth. So where is heaven? If the kingdom of heaven is within us, how are we going to bring it on earth if we don't believe that it's here? We're waiting to die to go to heaven and bring the kingdom down. Why are we waiting for heaven? We need to make that happen now, today, by living as if we're already there. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And as soon as we start to magnetize ourselves, heal ourselves, transform, we're going to be bringing that everywhere. And it's crazy. This whole conversation started to share that astrology is in the Bible, that all that is hidden is coming out to the surface, that all of this stuff is connected. And here we are, changing, helping, encouraging you to do something different. Today is the day, not yesterday. Yesterday's gone. We can't go back there. Tomorrow's not promised for any of us. We might walk out of here. I might not be here tomorrow, but today matters. So make sure that you're loving, you're doing the best that you can, that if you messed up, you say, I'm sorry. And we try to turn things around. We try. And the point is just to show up and try to do our best. Work on your goals. Don't procrastinate. If the people around you are not working on goals, those are not your people. Get people in your corner that are also positive. If they're staying in the same mentality, like when you're in the hood, they stay with the same mentality. And most of the time, people are generation after generation in the same place and they don't move on. Why? Because that's all they know. And they don't change because that's where their mind is. So again, I repeat this. We need to renew our thoughts. We need to transform our mind and do things differently, because otherwise we might as well just close the prison door on ourselves and serve our time here and not enjoy anything. Travel often if you can, and traveling doesn't have to be expensive. You can drive. If you get a car, go somewhere, take a train, take a bus, fly, take a cruise. Travel often, experience other parts of the world. They got us thinking that this is the only way, that the American dream is to get in debt in school, get a mortgage 30 years minimum. You don't pay your taxes once, you can lose your house because now you got a tax lien on you. How do you want us to thrive in a society that's threatening to take our stuff away? You call out too much, you lose your job. You want to be with your kids because they're not feeling well. You just want to go on vacation. You got a certain amount of days that you got to show up and days that you have to be off. What kind of system is that, man? It's not a system that I want. And I've always been rebellious against this structure, this system. And I hope to God that it's for a good purpose and that we'll be able to all help each other out and encourage each other and network to do something different. Because this shit is for the birds, man. We're not going to keep doing this forever. We just can't. This isn't the wave. I know, Jose, you had a business too, and it's a struggle. We want to be independent, we want to be able to do things, be self-employed, but things are hard out here. I know people making six figures, $200,000, 150, and they're still dealing with the BS. Because how much is an apartment around here? $2,500 for a 1 or 2 bedroom. You got kids, you got child support, or you have a job or something else that you got to do. And how can you afford to do? You need 2 jobs to do that, to be in this area. And everywhere you're going, it's getting more expensive in the United States. But you can go to Europe, you can go to Costa Rica, you can go to Puerto Rico, and you could probably live a lot better than being here. But we're taught that this is where we should stay, that the American dream is where we should be fighting for. And we're struggling. How much debt are people in? How many credit cards do you need to survive, to get by? And then you're tired of the everyday stuff. So you go out there and you buy yourself something. Why? Because I deserve it. Why not? I work so hard. And then we have to justify doing things because we can't afford it. So, oh well, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna go hang out today. Because we're not meant to be slaves to this system. We're supposed to unplug. So my YouTube live people, there's nobody there right now, but hi guys over here on TikTok. What's good? But yeah, I mean, I hope some of this resonated. I hope that some of this is encouraging. We need to stop watching the negative news. We need to stop feeding into the propaganda because the elections are around the corner. And, you know, this thing triggers you when you say certain things. So I'm just making sure I'm not going to get flagged. But, you know, things are going to get crazy before November. We know it. There's going to be flags all over the place. We just need to be mindful, watch it, and make sure that we don't feed into it because we ourselves, the more negative we are and we buy into the propaganda, we're literally manifesting that into our reality. So if you guys don't understand the power that we all have, that when we think something, we can make it happen. Why do you think they're always saying manifest this and manifest? And you see people manifesting left and right, but then they don't want everybody to manifest. It's a secret and this, that, and the third. No, because we're manifesting every day. They're pumping out all that crap on the television. We're feeding into it. Even the music we listen to. What are these people doing? Have you watched some of the Grammys and some of these award shows? The stuff they're doing, blood rituals and blood sacrifice, and they got kids and pedophilia, and all this stuff is crazy. But again, it needs to be exposed so we can recognize it for what it is and not buy into that system. We need to come out of the matrix. We need to unplug. We need to come up with a way to farm, grow our own food because they're killing us with the food they're giving us. We need to be able to get ourselves little tiny houses off the grid. Less is more. Why do we need to stress over a 600, 700, $800,000 mortgage? Why? For what? To keep up with society? Who cares? We're here for a little while. Do you really want to be a debt slave to all this stuff? You can't take it with you. Hello from Jersey. Hello, mister. We don't want to take it seriously, right? Because they keep telling us, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So we keep thinking, well, you know what? I got to go to college. I got to get this degree. I got to get me a real good job. And then that way I can afford to live and survive. But we're just working to live. We're not enjoying our lives, guys. And some of you, if you are enjoying your life, great. But how many of us are living paycheck to paycheck? Like, this should not be the normal. We need to get the hell out of this system, unplug ourselves, study, learn, research, meditate, get your body healthy, get your mind right. It all matters. And look, there's so many people. Well, I got over 6,000 likes on the live. You guys are the best. You guys rock. Jose, thank you so much for all the gifts. I mean, I'm truly, truly grateful. And I hope you're kicking butt out there. I hope everybody's kicking butt and doing their best, killing it out there, working, for yourself to better yourself so that you can unplug from this system, because literally we're manifesting all the toxic stuff. Think about one thing. How many times, hey Drew, he's my bestie from the UK. um, we're living in a society that they're telling us the end is near, the end times, revelation, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. And what happens is we're feeding into that. We're feeding into that. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the movie Disney made. I talk about this movie all the time because there's always messages in all these movies. If you guys pay attention, that stuff, the truth is in plain sight, is there. They tell you what they're gonna do before they do it, decades before. So this movie Disney made, I think it's called Tomorrowland. It might be from 2010, 2012. Tomorrowland, guys. Who? Oh, I'm not doing that right now. I'm sorry, Queens. Um, Tomorrowland talks about this girl is like going into the future or whatever, but it's like a portal, like a time travel portal. And if you guys haven't seen it, you guys got to check it out. And basically, the whole world is about to end in this movie. And the reason why it's going to end is because, drum roll, they were pumping the news, they were pumping the information that the world was going to end, all the negative, 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 negative. And what happened? Everybody pumps that fear. That fear becomes a vibration. And in the movie, the world is going to end until the one girl is optimistic. That one girl's like, nope, I'm going to change this whole thing. And she starts to be optimistic and she says, I think we can change this. I think we could stop this. I think we could reverse this. And what happens? She gets everybody to shift their thinking by changing the whole thing. And what happens? The end of the world does not happen. So we need to be careful what we're buying into, because they're making us as creators, as little gods, they're making us bring hell on earth, bring war, because they've been telling us war and rumors of war for decades, not even thousands of years. The Bible's been saying war and rumors of war. And what does that mean now? We're manifesting that. All you see is war and war, and Russia's at war with this, and this one is at war with that one, and da 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 da. Da. Now we got this. Now it's a power struggle, and da da da. We got people at our borders. It's just fear. It's fear, and it's propaganda, so that we could be like, oh my gosh, now I'm living on edge. This, that, and the third, and we need a woosah. But I love y'all. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much. I'm about to end this live. And Queens, I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to answer you. I wasn't technically doing tarot readings, I was talking about tarot. But maybe you can catch me on another time when I'm ready. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for the love. Thank you, guys. Take care.